Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with global.media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum.
Yes, hello everyone. Happy Friday. It's so good to be here once again. It's always a privilege to do this and come live on a Friday evening like this for us in West Africa. For those in the Eastern time zone, it's Friday afternoon, and then for those in the Pacific time zone, it's still Friday morning. But then it does not matter where you're doing us from all over the world. We want to welcome again to another Positivity Live, where we are having a empowering conversation that is centered on the topic of positivity. For us, we are very intentional about the power of positivity and the possibility that comes with it. And that's the reason why we come in here every Friday on the global stage like this, where people from all over the world get to join us on an empowering conversation, where we are very intentional about the power of positivity. This is the second edition for the year. Last week we began with our first edition, and for me, I'm very excited. Why? Because we have been having a discussion on a topic that each and every one of us can actually resonate. So, but last week we spoke about the topic positivity that goes beyond motivation. That's the beginning of the topic, and we're able to establish the fact that positivity and motivation are not the same thing. They are quite different, and positivity is more like the apex of what motivation is. Because motivation can start a journey, but positivity is what really gets you going and running. So this week we are continuing a conversation on some of the factors that can help us stay positive beyond motivation. And that's why we are diving in on the topic that says positivity that goes beyond motivation through our association. Because I tell you, the companies you keep, your association has a key role to play in shaping your life, in shaping your habits, in making you who you want to be. And the cycle, your association is responsible, directly responsible to your mindset level, to your attitude, and to the level of positivity that you can. So we are kicking off the topic. Why? Because as we begin the year, we understand that a lot of people are very motivated for the year because it's the beginning of the year. We are excited. The tree is all why because it's a new year, a breath of fresh air. But at the end of the day, as the year goes by, definitely challenges will come, difficult times will come, things will happen unexpectedly, and then at that point in time, the motivation you had initially might not be there. But what will keep you going? What will keep you sustainable? What will keep you grounded on your journey? It's the power of it. So today we are looking at the role that our association plays in allowing us to embrace the power of positivity even as we continue on our journey, be it business, be it personal, be it career, or whatever it is. So want to say thank you so much for joining us. And I appreciate everyone. If you are joining us in the comment section, we would love you to drop a comment so that we can shout you out. I tell you, one of the things we do in here on this stage, beyond just having empowering conversation, we are all about amplifying our voices, shining the light to people, putting people on a global stage where people can see you, not just see you, but to see what you do, the services you offer, and how you are able to help people all over the world. So if you're in the comment section, you are here with us, please kindly drop a comment so that we can know that you are there. Why? Because we're going to be shouting you out right about now. All right, we have Liana joining us to say hello, hey everybody, happy Friday. Yes, Liana, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Thank you for being an amazing support in this community of embracing positivity intentional. Yes, we have Joshua in the building. Joshua will soon say hi. Good evening, sir. Hey, all the best to you, and all the best to you, Joshua. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. Guys, in the comment section, please don't be shy. It's a free space for all. For us, it's a space where everyone is seen. It's a space where everyone is heard. It's a space where everyone is given equal opportunity to be able to share and be part of this conversation. Yes, for those who are joining us on Facebook, on YouTube, feel free. Drop a comment. Let us know that you were there, you are watching live, so that we can shout you out and amplify you on this amazing stage today. All right, we have Obia in the building. Obia is saying hello, everyone. Yes, Obia, thank you so much. Obia is a good friend of mine who is doing great things. Thank you for joining us every Friday as we continue to share the message of positivity. Our vision remains spreading positivity to every corner of the earth, 1 million person at a time. Now, I remember last year it used to only be one person at a time, but for us, we are changing that. It's now 1 million person at a time. Why? Because we are embracing the power of media. Because media has a key role in reaching out to more people. Like I said, whilst we're here, we are streaming live to different platforms, and we have thousands of people from all over the world who are joining us, who are watching live. And with that, we can be able to reach out to more people, not one person at a time anymore, but 1 million person at a time. So if you have a friend, you have a colleague, you have a coworker, you know somebody that needs to hear a message concerning positivity, do well, share the link, tag them, invite them, let them be part of the conversation so that we all can be able to embrace the power of positivity intentionally. Gero Pepe, if I'm correct. All right, it's top of the evening to you, or top of the evening to you, my friend. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the YouTube channel. All right. Well, for those who don't know me, my name is Zion Nogeru, the Mr. Positive Energy. A man in a vision to spread positivity to every corner of the earth, 1 million person at a time. For me, I believe so much in the power of intentional positivity, positive community, positive collaboration, positive teamwork. Why? Because for me, positivity has transformed my life. It has helped me become who I am today, becoming a global voice that impact people with my empowering message. And it has helped me shift myself from who I used to be in a place of negativity to where I am now, not just embracing positivity, but coaching and teaching people on how to embrace positivity. So for anyone, you are going through a tough time in your life right now, you are being overwhelmed, you are going through an overwhelming challenge that is making you feel not so positive. And you need a coach, you need a mentor, you need someone to hold you by your hands to take you through that journey where you can be able to embrace intentional positivity. Do it to reach out to me. Let's go on a journey of positivity together. And another thing I do is I host online events just like this for individuals, for businesses. You have value to give, you want to reach out to more people, you want to put your message out there so that more people can get to hear you and see what you do. Yes, I can help host events like that. Put you on a global stage where you can reach out to thousands of people at a go from the comfort of where you are. So if you're that person, you have a message, you want to reach out to the world, online events, reach out to me so we can go on the journey together. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not on stage by myself. I call them the best team in the world. Why? Because they have been the best team in the world. I work with these amazing people going to 4 years now on this live stream where we show up every Friday. And I tell you, they are dependable, they are reliable, they are credible, they are trustworthy, and I can go on and on to use all the adjectives in this world to describe them. It will still not be enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to help me celebrate. Let me give them a round of applause. I think I can do that now. We learned this earlier. You're doing the. All right, I have to give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie to welcome my co-host who will be on the stage today. Jamie all the way from the United States and Mr. Annie all the way from the UK as they introduce themselves and tell us what to do. Jamie's on stage right now, so I'll go with Jamie first, then I'll go to Mr. Kenny. Jamie, as I used to call him, thank you so much, brother, for being here. I'll yield the mic to you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I love the sound effects. Yes, nice way to kind of give something fun to the call, right? So yes, hello everyone. Good to see you all. Hopefully your start to 2026 has been a good one and you all enjoyed the holidays. I was gone out of town last week, so glad to be back this week. Excited to be back on the call and talk today about what motivation is going through our association, right? So before I introduce myself, let's shout out some more comments here. I see we got some comments in here. If we want to pull up some here, Zion. Let's see. We got Mike in the house. Good to see you, Mike. Mike says Zion doesn't just surpass positivity's epitome. He invented the VIP lounge where rainbows go to brunch. I like that. I imagine rainbows eating brunch at a table. That's awesome. Love that. Wisdom, good to see you. Good evening, all. Good to see you. Good evening to you, too. Eric coming from the United States in Hartford, Connecticut. Good to see you. Mike says Jamie's not just a co-host. He's a supernova stealing the show in his own galaxy, leaving everyone else orbiting in awe. Wow, I love these phrases, Mike. That's awesome. And Mike also says Ennie isn't just a businessman. He's the OG whose massive heart turns boardrooms into hug fests. Darling. Love that. Yes, I think Ennie would agree with that one. Love the shout outs, Mike. Thanks so much. And we got at Jeho Pepe 21 says, wow, 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 wow. Just all wows with a lot of hand claps. Thank you. And good to see you too. Yes. Thank you for joining our call today. It is awesome. We got so many people in the comments here. We got Obia Gloria here saying she's Mrs. Lydia. Hope she is fine. Yes, from what I know, Lydia is doing well. I know she's got some things that she's focusing on. But yeah, she's doing well. Let's do this, Zion. Can you do me a favor? I got to jump really quick and do something. Can you have Ennie introduce himself first, and then I'll go ahead and jump on here?
All right.
Actually, you know what? Never mind. I think we're good, actually. You know what? I should be fine, actually. I thought I had a call coming through, but we should be good. So let me introduce myself. Yeah, so I am Jamie Edwards, as Zion said. I'm coming to you from the United States, right outside of Chicago, Illinois, about an hour away. What I do is you can see right below my name there, it says Jam Sessions with Jamie, right? So what is Jam Sessions with Jamie? I do career coaching, and all my coaching sessions, I call them jam sessions. It's kind of a fun way because, I grew up around a lot of music. That's where the name Jam Sessions with Jamie came from. And what I do is I do career coaching, and I help people every day with 3 different parts of their job search. I help them with their resume. I help them with interview practice, and I help them with LinkedIn profile optimization. One of the big services I do for people most of the time is resume writing. What I do is I help people write their resumes from scratch. I will go ahead and give them pre-work to fill out. I will have a discovery call with them where we'll go over their career aspirations, their skills, all sorts of different things. And then I'll write their resume from scratch, and we'll do a coaching session where we go over their new resume. I show them how I built it. We talk about the different things in it. We make sure they're happy with it. So that's one of those services I do. I also do interview practice as well. So what I do during my interview sessions is I go over 3 different parts of the interview process. We talk about how to prepare for interviews, how to answer the easiest and the toughest questions during the interview process, and how to negotiate salary. So we talk about all 3 of those things. It's about an hour and a half call. We go through all sorts of different stuff in the interview process. I make sure people are prepared so they can interview better and ultimately land their next opportunity. And I also do LinkedIn optimization as well. I help people with their LinkedIn profiles from top to bottom, everything from creating a new banner, helping them with their headline, making their About Me section stand out, helping them create content and have a content creation strategy so they can become more visible and get more recruiters and hiring managers to look at their LinkedIn page. What I do is I build it from scratch. I give them notes so they can easily copy and paste things in their profile. And then I'll help them with their profile so they can make sure that they're getting the visibility they deserve, right? So I cover all 3 of those different parts of the job search. I've worked with almost about a little bit over 900 different job seekers now in the last 3.5 years. I take pride in what I do. My goal is to work with people until they land their next job. So it's never just one coaching and then saying we're done. It's making sure that they have access to me whenever they need something, and they can reach out to me whenever they need help with their job search. So I love what I do. I'm blessed to be able to do this type of work. I'm blessed to be able to help people with their job search. And that's a little bit about me. I'm excited for today's topic today. Excited to hear from some of you on the call today as well. And I think we have I think he's standing by here. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Ennie so he can go ahead and introduce himself and let you know a little bit about what he does. Ennie, are you there? There you are. Oh, you're on mute.
I'm here. Mrs. Z is making this work by magic, right? I know. Jamie is amazing at what he does. And he gets people jobs. That's the important thing, right? Yeah. So thank you all for joining us. Of course, Mike. Thank you for your kind words. I was blushing behind my camera, so I appreciate your kind words every time. Stop it! No, keep them coming, right? Keep them coming. So I think we've got many more comments on LinkedIn, but we can't seem to see them on here on StreamYard yet. I don't know what it was. No, there's often a connection issue between the two platforms. Well, let's see whether we can find anyone else on LinkedIn. Yeah, mine's just gone live. So Wisdom, I see you. Joshua, I see you as well. So welcome all of you. I saw Eric Doby earlier. So glad you're all here, my friend. Abdul Wahid, we see you as well. Just hello, good evening to all those present. So welcome all of you. Yes. So Mike has a way with words, right? He's always very, very complimentary. So I'm blushing, Mike. You're far too kind with your kind words. I appreciate you, my friend. Right. So what I guess I spend every day doing what I really enjoy. Today's the perfect day. So most of my day I've been working on my client's book. So I published my client. I've got another chapter done. And what I tend to do is essentially lay out people's books in a format that we can publish them. So if you've written a book, don't know how to get it published, let's talk. If you want to write a book, don't know where to start, then let's talk again. Work with people to write the books. If you publish a book that's not selling, again, let's talk, because part of what we do is help you to market your book. That way you sell more copies and your book impacts more people. So apart from doing the book I'm working on at the moment, I'm working on about 5 books at the moment. There's 2 I'm publishing. So 1 I'm writing for a client. So the other things I do in between all that, I guess I do events, but we're going more towards in-person events. So when we had a paid workshop on Zoom last week Monday, which is well attended. So we've got 10 people whose lives we're now transforming. So everything with me is about transforming people's lives. So we've done a workshop, and everyone who was at the workshop, we're now working with implements the action plan that we designed together. So I guess my events is just an extension of all of that. So the workshop is one event. My next event is a conference we're doing at the end of February. So my passion is authors. I love people who are brave enough to write a book, tell the stories, aim to impact the world through more than one-on-one. One-to-many is what a book will do, right? Especially when you get on stage, then you're going to impact hundreds, thousands. And there's a reality in our world, my friends, that not everyone gets to go on stage. Those who have stages don't want to give many people the chance. So I'm going to create my own stage. Author Speakers Conference is where I'm going to put my author friends to speak to the world. If you want to be a speaker, then get in touch. Yeah. Did I say I pay my speakers? I do pay my speakers. So if that interests you, if you've written a book and you want to get your message out there, let's talk. That's how I have fun in my days, my friends. So thank you so much for listening to me. If I can help you, get in touch. Mr. Z, I'll give you the mic back, my friend.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ennie. Amazing. I think I have to be on. Now, this is fun. I love this feature. It's making me so excited. And I can really do this on stage to applaud people, drum rolls for them as because it's very powerful. One thing we've learned again and again on this platform is The real MVP is you, it's me, it's each and every one of us. And Mr. Enemy says you are just our friends are our celebrities, our families are our celebrities. It's very easy to find celebrities online. For this of you watch football, you can say Messi, Ronaldo, and stuff like that. But then for we, one thing we've learned and we are learning continually again and again is the ability for us to celebrate our cycle, our association, our friends. So for me to be able to give you a round of applause through the StreamYard application, it's very exciting. Well, we're going to be diving deeper into the conversation. And for anyone who wants to join us on stage, you want to be part of the backroom stage where you can show up on live like this, like we are doing. This is a StreamYard link. You can click it or input the code you see there on your browser. It's going to take you to StreamYard so you can join us on the backstage. Now, the reason why we invite people to come up on stage to share is because we believe that every one of us, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter your current state, we all have something to share. We all have impact to give through our words. So there is no wisdom too small not to change somebody's life. There's nothing you're going to be sharing on stage today that is too small, that is too little. So don't be shy. And peradventure, you are in a place where your camera is not so good, or maybe you don't have electricity for some of us in some parts in Africa. You can do it to turn off your camera. As long as we can hear you, your audio is working. Feel free to join us on stage. We'll be so glad to have you join us. Because I tell you, what you have to share today has the power to change somebody's life. What you have to share today has the power to encourage someone. And someone might just need a tip, or might just need something about association, how to have the right association, the practical step. And then what you share can give them a blueprint that they can follow to help them to be able to choose their association well so that their positivity can be sustainable. So this is a special invitation to anyone on any of the platform, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. You want to join us to speak, feel free. The topic remains positivity that goes beyond motivation through your association. And to cut the long story short, or to make it simpler, the role that your association plays in helping you stay positive and having the right mindset. So we already have Mr. Mike. I call him Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike is just on stage today. Uncle Mike, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. And we'll give you the honor to be the first person to share on this topic, because I know last week you were here and you had a lot to see when it comes to our association and the roles they play in helping us stay positive. So Uncle Mike, if you can hear me, thank you. I know your mic is already unmuted. So if you can hear me, you can go ahead and share with us from your own experience, because you are an OG in the house, just like Mr. Eni. From your own experience, when it comes to your journey in life, what has association played? What role does it play in helping you having the mindset that you have today in positivity?
Well, I wanted to actually hone in on sort of the subject of association, meaning I really think that we all need to have, for lack of a better word, a council or a board, if you will, of people that we trust that are positive. Because I think life's challenges sometimes can get us down a little bit, or we can have health issues, or whatever the case is. And I think this is true both in work and in life. And I just think it's so important. Like I was part of, and still am part of, something I call a job search council. And so you go through a process, but one of the things that's really important in that process is to have this usually smaller team. It's about 6 people. I think probably the biggest that you want to go is 10 or 12 people, but I think 6 is fine. But is to have that council and that you uplift each other. So we're not all going to be experiencing the same things at the same time always. So I think it's really important to have that group, and as one of those objects that you do is to be positive and lift each other up. But also, I think part of it is when you maybe are struggling with self-image, or that in a positive way, that they come alongside you and say, Mike, or Annie, or Zion, or Jamie, it's not as bleak as you think. That the reality is you've shown yourself to be successful before. You can certainly do it again. You're a man or woman of integrity, and that you might just be going through a rough patch, and you will go through rough patches. I actually wrote a song about that, and I'll paste it in the comments later, but it's called "Life is Unfair," and the wording is "Life is unfair. So what?" And the "so what" by that I mean, yeah, life is unfair, and sometimes we can struggle with things that are going on in our lives, but we can certainly improve that situation with surrounding ourselves by with positive, honest, knowledgeable people. That's what I got for this Friday.
Don't be put off, Mike. Look, I love that, Mike. I really do. I think in my world, the council you're talking about, which I agree, we should all have one. It's a mastermind. It's a group of high achievers. People who are successful, people who are expert in what they do. We'll need that council. That group. It's more than a network. It's network plus, Mike. I get what you're saying, right? It's people who are at a higher level. Who can say, and not most mastermind groups tend to they meet every so often. And it's exactly you say, Mike. It's people who will inspire you, who will say, "Yeah, I've done what you're thinking of." So, and I can share with you some of the journey. Maybe it's not coaching per se. It's just I think it makes you realize that there's so much more that we can do and we can achieve. And Zion and I have a friend, Eric, for example. Is Eric F. King? He's a big fan of masterminds. He's a member of some, and he ran his own for a while. And the story he kept telling us was his dream to write a book. The mastermind members in the group just told him, "Eric, we've all written books." Within 3 months, he had his book written and published. It became a bestseller. I'm saying that's what mastermind can do for you. They can show you the way. Much like a coach wouldn't always do. A coach will show you the way. Of course, you have to pay them for that pleasure, right? And most masterminds are not free. To be part of the elite. The last thing I'll say about the mastermind, which I'm sure you agree, Mike, is that we must bring something. You can't join a mastermind by if what do you bring to other people's lives is a question we're asking, right? I think that's part of the conversation today. We must bring something to the table that makes us at that level.
And I draw the distinction between like that mastermind or the council that I'm talking about and mentorship. I think we should be doing both, right? But the council that I'm talking about is, you don't all have to necessarily be on the same level, but I do think, to your point, I think you want to surround yourself by people that are near, near. And for me, it would be also age appropriate too, right? Because I want to deal with people that are, near or close to my age. Now, like I said, I differentiate that from mentorship, because I think you should also do mentorship. But that's not exactly what I'm talking about in the council that I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. But it's a good place to start our conversation today. I'm intrigued by what my friends are going to add in terms of the power of who we associate with. Are you going to kick us off, Mrs. Z?
Okay, let's go to Jamie. Jamie, I haven't said it one now.
Okay, Jamie. Share with us, please. What is the power of who we hang around with?
Sure, definitely can talk about that. Yes, I'll kind of start off about that. And Mike, thanks again for your kicking us off here and jumping on the call here. We appreciate that. I want to learn more about this job council thing because obviously it's right up my alley too. So we'll talk offline about that. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about obviously how do we how does our association matter to the people we hang out with, right? I mean, Zion talked about it, right? He mentioned that motivation fades, right? The right environment doesn't, right? So when I think about that, I think about motivation in general, right? Motivation feels good. We love when we have motivation. It makes us want to do things and hit the ground running, right? But, the problem is motivation can come from a lot of different things, right? You can be motivated by going to an event and hearing a speaker talk about things, right? Maybe you leave energized and you feel good about that. Maybe you've got your own motivation to do something every morning and you exercise and, you feel good and you start doing things, right? But then what happens, sometimes down the road, a few days later, maybe it tapers off. Maybe that motivation goes away, right? Maybe it fades. And that's the thing with motivation, right? It can be temporary. Unless you continue to have that motivation every day, sometimes it can be temporary. But what happens is the association that you include yourselves around, the environment you put yourself around, that there's people or a circle that motivates you, that is what can help you keep that motivation going, right? So when I talk about that, I think about, everybody on this call, right? Maybe we all have our own circles. Maybe we all have our own people that we spend our time around, right? And I always encourage people that our environment that we kind of put our people around, it's all about who we spend time with, right? Everybody that's in that circle, I call them your association, right? Or your tribe, whatever you want to call it, right? That shapes the habits that you have, right? Maybe your standards, maybe how you do things. You want to surround yourself around people who are going to motivate you and who are going to help you make those decisions, right? Obviously, we make the ultimate decision, but when we have good people around us, that's super important. And it all comes down to that association that we surround ourselves with. I think about some of the people that I associate myself with, right? Not just Ennie and Zion, who obviously are my brothers on this call, right? We've been doing this now for almost 4 years. These are people who I consider my circle, who I know I can reach out to if I ever need motivation or I need to pick their brain on something. I know they would be there for me just as much as I'd be there for them. But I also think about 2 other career coaches that are in my circle, right? There's people that I know that I surround myself with who are other career coaches who we don't feel like we're competing with each other. We feel like we're pushing each other to provide a good service to job seekers and be able to motivate each other when it comes out to the way we do things, the way we do our coachings, things like that. So, those circles mean so much and they help shape that behavior that I do, right? They help me with my mindset. If something's not working for me, right, I can kind of shift that mindset and kind of think about things differently, right? But that's really what comes down to motivation, right? When you have those people surrounding you, you don't feel like, it kind of removes that need for having the willpower to do something, right? When you do things on your own, sometimes you have to keep talking yourself into doing things and am I doing the right thing? Or how do I, do I keep motivating myself? But when you have those people who also push you to motivate you, that helps you grow, right? That helps you progress. Maybe you're somebody who's looking to lose weight, or you're looking to exercise, you want to run a marathon. You surround yourself around other people who kind of go to the gym every day, who eat the right foods, who are trying to get in their own marathon. Those people push you, right? It's not just you battling with yourself for motivation. It's people that are inspiring you to want to do those things, right? So all in all, I'll kind of wrap this up here, but what it comes down to is making sure you have the right people in your circle, right? Making sure you want those people in your circle that will help you grow. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to cut off the people who are not helping you grow, right? The ones who are not perfect and helping you motivate. But if you're surrounding yourself around the negative people who are not motivating you, but they're your friends, maybe just kind of take that step back and just understand that, yeah, those people are still my friends, but they're not really the best when it comes to my motivation, right? On certain things. Make sure you surround yourself around those people who are consistently pushing you. And answer these things. Think about things when you're associating yourself with people. Think about who are the people that are challenging you to be better. right? Who's helping you support your growth? Who's helping you bring clarity to the things that you want to do? Right? I think all those things, when you ask yourself those questions, you can start narrowing that circle down. And it's better to have a smaller circle than it is to have just a bunch of acquaintances and a big following and whatnot. I mean, yes, I have a following of 35,000 people. And I admit I haven't really grown much in the last year, right? But the thing is, I don't really care so much to grow now in terms of my follower base. I care to keep those that are close to me in my circle, that I know I don't want to let those people go, because they're going to be there for me and they're going to continue to motivate me to be the best that I can. So that's a little bit about what I feel like, how association, really plays into your part when it comes to motivation. I'm curious to see what my co-hosts think as well. So I think, is it going to be Zion or Eni? Who's going to take the reins next and talk about it? Thank you.
Give the man a round of applause, man. Oh,
Thank you.
I like that. I like that, Jamie. I really do. I think, look, I think the people we hang around with, they say we're the average of the people we hang around with, right? As much as people can raise us up. Welcome, Dr. Lisa. How are you? Great to see you. So as much as we can, Linda as well. How you doing, Linda? All the way from Canada. Glad you're here. You want to come and sit in the studio? The link is on the event page in the comment section. I'll share on here again in our chat, so make it easier for you, my friends. Right. So I think as much as the people who we hang around with can raise us, Jamie, I think they can also take us down. If you hang around people who are doom mongers, naysayers, full of anxiety, full of fears, I fear that they can drag us down to their level as well. So that we'll become stuck in our lives and our journey. The power of the people that we hang around with is hugely powerful. If you hang around the right people, say good things happen. Maybe even if the good thing is that we aim for the best version of ourselves. We aim to do some of the things we actually think about in our mind. I think your other point, Jamie, that positivity is not just about motivation. It's not just about taking action. It's a way of living. It's a way of being. This is why this event, this topic is so important. If you hang around with the right people, then you become one of those people who does. Who wants to help people, who has big dreams, who has, peace in the soul, peace in the heart, and has a way of relating to people. Because again, as Zion said it earlier, I want to always say that, we're very good at giving people we don't know celebrity status, because we see them on TV or hear them on radio or hear them on wherever they are, being celebrities, being stars. But in truth, how do we relate to the people in our lives? How do we relate to our friends, really? How do we relate to our network? How do we relate to our family? These are the people that we associate with the most, right? I think we do have to learn to have positivity in our soul when we relate to people in our lives. Again, I love your point, Jamie. Everyone thinks about getting more followers. And I know Mrs. Z has gazillion followers, thousands, nearly broken LinkedIn. I think my followers goes up. I've never looked, to be honest, but my connections haven't really gone up. So I got to a big number. I'm happy there, right? Then my point is this, my friend. You really want to go deep rather than going wide. Yes, there's a time to go wide. Don't get me wrong. So we want. If you're on LinkedIn, you need at least 2,000 connections, really, because the way events work, you get 1,000 invites a week. So you want more than 1,000 invites. That way, you can maximize the event process. But there comes a time when you say, do I really know who's in my network. I've seen people who have 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. The same on YouTube, same on Instagram, and they can't sell 100 books. They become a bestseller. Are they really your friends? No, genuinely, we have to ask ourselves. Who do we really know our friends? There comes a time where you have to get to know them. Take that time. It's worth it. I promise you. I would rather have one good friend than 100 people I don't know on my LinkedIn connections profile, right? And because the few people that you do know well, they'll turn up for you. They'll support you. They'll influence you, and you influence them too. They'll buy from you as well. If you can't become real friends, form deep connections, then you're missing the point of our conversation today. Make those deep connections. Look, here's I'll say maybe I'll give you 3 or 4 things that we can all do, right? The first one I say is this: do you know what your network does? Do you know what the people you associate with actually do? Do they know what you do? So step number 1, map your connections, map your associations. Make a list, name expertise. What do they help with? Only then can you begin to know who to call on when you need them. And I think many of us will find that everything we need is in our network. That's how networks are built. The best networks do referrals and have a referral policy, right? And you must refer your friends to people in the network. Otherwise, some will just kick you out. And I'm thinking of BNI. I grew up in BNI, right? If you don't bring referrals, then BNI is like, you have to leave. They don't care how much you paid, right? But it works both ways. Your friends will refer you to their network too. I'm saying now you want to be that person who refers your network, your friends, your associations to people who they can help. Be that person. It's good for you. I promise you. All right? So the second thing I will say really is let's learn to reciprocate. How many people do you know who just take, never give back? Are they real friends? How do they make you feel? Be the person who does a good turn for others. Either pay up front, or someone does you a good deed. Return the favor, right? I said, the next one I'll say, it sounds pretty simple, but again, we've all seen this, my friends. Please, be a listener more than a talker. I say this now in all seriousness. Before I came on the call today, so I got this friend. We all have this friend, by the way. These friends. They just dump on us. They just talk. And you're like, I'm trying to get away with the edgeways, but you can't. They're just talking. They just keep talking, right? How do they make you feel? Don't be that person. Be the listener. It will do wonders for all of us. It always does, right? When we listen, we get to understand our friends. We get to, be on a level with them. We get to understand how they're feeling, what they're struggling with, and also, like I say, what they're good at. Be the listener. And maybe say another one I'll say really is, let's be open to those honest conversations with our friends. Sometimes, you gotta be the one that says, look, my friends, Mr. Z, that's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. I know what you're thinking, but it's not gonna work. Yes, you might take offense and say, Annie, you're not supporting me, but that's not the point. I think we have to be honest with our friends. Genuinely honest, because, and I don't mean honest to the point of cruelty. I don't mean honest to the point of putting people down, killing their ideas. I mean honest to the point of saying, yeah, I want you to succeed. I really do. But here's another way of looking at it. You may want to listen to me or ignore me. It's up to you, right? I think your point about trust there, Mike. That's coming into what I'm saying, right? But I think we have to be honest with our friends. I won't let you walk into the sea into it's a puddle of water and drown yourself. I'll say to you, no, stop, go the other way, right? And sometimes that's just how bad news. That's just how what we have to say sounds. So be a good friend. Is my point all in. Be the one who gives as much as you take from your associations. I'll leave you there, my friend.
Kenny, just to add to that, I would boil all that down to trust, because you can't do any of those things that you were talking about, including giving honest, authentic wisdom, if you will, to friends, if there isn't that agreed upon circle of trust. And unfortunately, I mean, and I think we talked about this maybe last week. You do want to trust, but at the same time, you have to kind of allow that to grow as well, because you could potentially trust someone too much that you don't know well enough. So I think there's a time, part of this that I think we hopefully will trust people, more and more and more over time, particularly if they're proved to be trustworthy. But I think, to me, and that's kind of the difference, and I'm differentiating again from what I would call maybe association or network, and what I'm talking about, which is this really a trusted counsel, or having, trusted counselors, because that's the people I can really lean on. They've already proved to me, or at least they haven't proved to me that they're not trustworthy. So they've proved themselves trustworthy to me, and I can lean on them, including all of the things that you talked about, including being honest, and including giving. I mean, that's part of trust, right? I don't think you can trust someone that is take all the time. So, and by the way, I just feel like, and this is something, I'm going to bang the drum of abundance mindset all day long, but one of the things that's just blown my mind maybe this week was that you receive so much when you give. And it's almost like a paradox, but what you've talked about listening. If you really want to influence someone, you listen first, and then, because how am I supposed to know what I can really share with you? What wisdom can I give Zion or Annie or Jamie if I'm not listening first? And if I'm not understanding where Zion, like you said, you have to know what they do. Well, I have to listen. And if you really want to influence, you have to listen, I think. So that's my share.
Any, you're speaking. I think you're muted. Should I go ahead? All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Uncle Mike, for that. I know the fact that you stress more on the trust part, because trust is very, very important. It doesn't matter the relationship you want to build. If you want to get to know people, if you want people to get to know you as well, there is need for us to pay care attention to trust. What are the things you can do that can build trust? It's very important when it comes to relationship. Yes, Mr. Tom says, Zion, I think looking like there's some good music being played in your headset. Now, the good music and the wisdom being dropped, the gems dropped by our speakers, Amy, Uncle Michael. So just listen to them, just make me keep nodding my head. I'm like, oh yeah, that's on point. Well, powerful conversation so far, I must tell you. There's so much to learn when it comes to association and how they impact our mindset, how they impact our thinking and staying positive. A lot have been said earlier, but I'm just going to chip in a few things that were very, very important and beneficial for us. For me, there's something I've learned about association as regards how it shaped my mindset, as regards how it shapes my life states. Association, it's not about proximity. I'll say that again. Your association is not determined by proximity. Now, I'm a practical example of what I just said. What it was. I'm a friend with so many persons, like Amy, Jamie, Mike, Isa, Lydia, and few other people in the comment section. To be honest with you, for most of us, we've not seen ourselves physically. And that's the truth. So for some persons, when we talk about association, maybe we might be thinking, oh, those people who are physically around us. As much as it is true that it can be those people physically around us, but then your association is not limited by those physically around. So it's not determined by proximity, and you can build your association with people who are far and wide. Take, for example, on this stage, I'm from Nigeria, seated here in Nigeria comfortably. Ellen is joining from the UK, Mike and Jimmy is joining from the United States. But here we are, still on the same stage, sharing insights. We can hear from each other, we learn from each other, we grow together. That's what association is all about. So for most people, physically, you might not have the people you think you need around you physically. That's why we have the online space. And by God's grace, LinkedIn has given us a huge opportunity where our association is not limited just to those people that we have in our cycle physically, but the relationship that we can build on the online space, like a platform such as LinkedIn. And a lot of conversation which we have become so far from Mr. Annie, from Mr. Mike, and Jamie that speaks about building relationship. I tell you, association is not just association with that relationship. It is the relationship that is the foundation of the association you keep. So how intentional are you to build relationship with the people around you? It's very key. It's very important for you to be able to have the right association. And my mentor said something a few years ago. He said, Zion, you know what? Association determines your destination. So the kind of people that I surround myself with determine where I will go in life. My approaches, my mindset, my feeling, my reaction, my decision, my association plays a key role. So today we are looking at how the power of association can be able to affect us and help us become a better person. Because for most people, we just feel that association does not matter. It does. I remember growing up, I used to think association can only affect when you are young. As our parents used to tell us, oh, don't go with bad friends, don't play with this person, don't play with somebody that's still. I used to think those pressure, those influences is just for young person. But growing up and becoming an adult, I realized that the same way association affects children is the same way association affects an adult. So it does not matter who you are, it does not matter what you think you've been through or the level of success you've attained. When you hang out with the wrong people, it has a direct impact in your life. It affects everything you do. You know, one thing I learned about association is your association can either normalize excuses or normalize growth. I've experienced this on the first hand on how your association can normalize growth or normalize excuses. I've been at a place where things are about to happen, and yet people say, no, you cannot walk, you don't know, you don't have what it takes to do this, or you cannot do this. Why? Because I remember coming online, I've shared this story again and again. All I had was my mobile phone. All I had was my mobile phone. I didn't have a personal PC. I didn't have access to good internet. I didn't have access to the basic logistics I need to come on the online space. Then you hear people say, what will you do with your phone? Your phone is not even a good phone. How can you talk like this? I have people like that. Discourage me, who at that point didn't want me to, be where I am today. Why? Because they normalize excuses. For me, I embraced it and like, oh, it's true. Because what they feed you starts to become your reality. What your association feeds you, what you listen to through your association starts to become your reality. You believe them. Why? Because I don't want to be the odd one. I think they are right. I think they are correct. So you want to be with them. So for me, changing my association really played a key role. I remember when I met Mr. Annie online, you could tell the young man who I used to be But like when he was talking, all I was seeing was excuses. I was giving him excuses. Why? Because I was used to giving excuses because of the association I surrounded myself. But for me, he made me see this in a whole different light. You are from Nigeria, I think you can do this. He was giving me suggestion of things he feel I can do that I never saw I could do. So in doing that, I understood, wow, so the kind of people you surround yourself with plays a key role. And then in speaking with any few other person, I see that I began to normalize growth, not excuses anymore. I began to see growth as a thing that I should do. See growth as a thing that is part of the journey, not excuses. Of course, in the journey of growth, you have 1,000 reasons not to do what you need to do. But because you are passionate about growth and you have an association that fears of growth, you begin to see it as normal. The second, the one thing I learned that my association has helped me do is association has helped me embrace discipline as a way of life and not being forced. And not being forced. I remember, I'll give this story. I remember when I started the gym. And you have, what are you going to the gym for? What are you going to do? Gym is not for you. What are you going to do? No, excuses of why you go to gym. You don't have any money and you're going to, it doesn't work like that. No, it really affected me. But when I finally started going to the gym, I saw people who wake up as early as 5 a.m. I'm like, Zion, are you ready? Let's go. Zion, I'm ready. Let's go. No, in going with them, I began to see that, wow, it's a normal thing to be disciplined to do what you need to do. Take, for example, this event we do here, showing up every Friday consistently for over 3 years now. It's because of the association I found myself. I knew that Eni must show, Jamie will show, Lydia will show, Issa will show. So why would I not show up? So just the thought of knowing that my association are passionate about doing what they need to do, they are simply enough to show up as they should show up, really spoke me up and helped me become a better person. So for you, to be disciplined is not hard. It's not something that you have to force. The kind of people you surround yourself with will help you know that, wow, discipline should be natural, not forced. It should flow. Why? Because it is something that you need to do. And lastly, I will end with this. You know, for me, there's one thing I've learned about association. It's about positive mindset. If when I began to embrace positivity, I learned that if I really want to embrace positivity, there is need for me to audit my association, not just my attitude. Yes, for some of us, oh, I have to change this attitude. But if you look deep down and study yourself so much, how you react, how you think, the way you do things is being influenced by the people around you. By association. As a child, when you're growing up, the role models are your parents or your elder siblings. You want to talk like them, you want to be like them, you want to act like them, you want to do things the way they do things. Same way is our association. Now, the reason why our parents are like that because they're the one we associate ourselves with. But as we grow up to be adults, we tend to associate ourselves with people who might not be family members, but then they have a key to play in our life. So you need to audit your association as much as you are auditing your value. Your positivity and embracing it, it's not negotiable. It's very important in this time. And I love the fact we've already established that positivity motivation is good, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Because at the end of the day, motivation is temporary. It's not sustainable. It cannot stand the test of time. It's not something you can depend on the long run. But one thing that you can depend on again and again, one thing you can rely on, one thing you can help you be who you are, is embracing the power of positivity. But lastly, it just came in as I was studying about this earlier. For some of us, we have values that guide our lives. We have values. The values of integrity, the values of love, the values of honesty, as the case may be. For me, if you want to remain a person who keeps your value, who stands by your value, your association will play a key role in that. I gave a story earlier when I came into the online space. I told you, initially when I tell people that I'm from Nigeria, I get blocked instantly. I have racist comments, people say things about because I just said I'm from Nigeria. Now, as of that time, I could have as well, be influenced by their reaction. But in surrounding myself with people who believe in authenticity, who believe in integrity, who believe in being your true self no matter what, really helped me to continue to embrace my value. The reason why people compromise their value, it's the association they keep. You hear people tell you, well, it's not bad, If you think about it, it's not bad. And maybe you can do it for this one time, for this for once, and at the end of the day, you go back to the normal person. We have people like that. We have a lot of people who bend the rules, who compromise. Why? Because a friend suggested. Because at the end of the day, what the association tells you are seeds. The words, their action, their reaction are seeds. A seed that is being sowed in your heart that can be nurtured over a period of time. So for most people, you are acting the way you act right now, or you are doing what you are doing right now because somebody sowed a seed in you. Your association as a case may be. So when you associate with the right people, it helps you to stay and nurture the value that you want. If you are in a company of liars, I tell you, automatically you become a liar. It's a slow fade. Black can turn to gray, not overnight. But over time, if you use it, you can see black turn into gray. Why? Because it's a slow fade. So the kind of people you associate yourself with matters a lot. So if you are an honest person and you want to stand with honesty, if you're a person of integrity, you want to stand with integrity, it's very important you find people of like mind. Find people who stand for integrity as well. Find people who stand for honesty as well. And associate yourself with them. Because like Mr. Eni said earlier, the people you surround yourself with can either help you fuel your dream to greatness or kill your dream. You might not know it. It's a gradual process. For some person might say, oh, I cannot be influenced. Even the Bible says, do not be deceived. It says, evil communication corrupts good manner. So don't be deceived. Don't be too full of yourself and say, oh, my people around me doesn't have anything to do. They don't. Because I tell you, every day might not be the best day. For you, you can talk like that today that your situation cannot affect you. Why? Because you are at the best place in your life right now. Things are going well, things are smooth. But the day that things are not going the way you want it to go, that's where you're going to remember that subtle advice, that subtle word, that's the word that is sold by that friend. I say, you know what? You can bend a little bit, you can cut corners, you can compromise a little bit just to achieve your goals. It happens. So that's why we are bringing this conversation so that we all can know and remind ourselves the key role that association plays in your life. Who are the friends you keep around you? Who are the people you are surrounding yourself with? As the year begins, it's our time we do this intentional examination of our lives. Because 2026 will not be what it could have been when you are in the wrong cycle. The dreams you have, the aspirations you have, the things you want to do, they will not be reality if you are in the wrong cycle. That's the more reason why auditing your cycle. Be intentional about the people you surround yourself with. It's key. And I tell you, it's not about how long you know. For what I had a discussion with somebody last week, like, I've known this person, we have been friends for like 10 years, for 15 years, for 20 years, and I don't want to let the friendship go. And people give excuses for things like this. The question is, are you really intentional about growth? Are you really intentional about becoming a better person? How passionate are you to move to the next level? To be honest, with the person you're talking about, it's not in any way helping you move to the next level. There is need for change. There is need for you to be better. Take, for example, you have a clothes, you have a shirt that you want over a period of time, and the shirt is torn, you can no longer use it anymore. Will you say because you love the shirt has saved you for so long, that you want to keep wearing the shirt out? No, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. So we have to be very intentional about our association, about the people we surround ourselves, because they can either make you or break you. When I realized that my association determines my destination, I had to take a pause and really look at myself. Who are the people in my life I have conversations with? Who are the people in my life I spend time with? Who are the people in my life, and how are they helping me become a better person? How are they helping me follow my goals? How are they helping me reach my potentials? These are questions we need to keep asking ourselves again and again and again. So do not take it for granted. Do not treat it lightly and say it doesn't matter. It does matter. Your association has a key role to play in your life and has a key role to play in shaping your mindset and you embracing positivity. Because at the end of the day, every day might not be rosy. Every day might not be the best day. But the people you have in your life have a show up for you in those days you don't feel like it. In those days you don't feel the energy are very, very important. Last year I shared about this last week that during the course of 2025, I had lost friends and family, up to 7 persons. Now I wasn't the best person, I wasn't the best of myself, I wasn't having the energy that I should. But because of the people I had in my circle who always check up on me, who always called me, who always encouraged me, because even being with a positive energy, I needed some energy too. I needed people to pour into me as well. So I gave an analogy of a well last week about a well who has water. When a well has water, people will always come in to fetch from water. People will always come in to fetch from the well. But when the well dries up, nobody comes in. So for you who want to keep making impact, who want to keep reaching out to people, having influence, and helping people become better, make sure you have people in your life. Make sure you have good associations who can also pour into you as well, so that your well will not run dry, so that you will have continuity in doing what you do. You have longevity in doing what you do. So surround yourself with people who can pour into you as well, who can support you, who can encourage you, who can help you be the best version of yourself. I'm going to end with that. I know it's been a powerful conversation for a while. Thank you so much. I think I enjoyed that as well.
I had to do it, right? I had to do it. I looked at many other sounds. You might have figured you got a new sound thing on StreamYard now. So expect to hear many funny things going on, right? Anyway. Well said, Mrs. Z. Well said, my friend. It's one thing we do this year. It is be mindful of the people that we hang around with. For all the reasons that we've said. I suppose a quick question for those, for us here, and maybe all you in the audience as well. I've seen some good comments. Ijoma says friendships are a two-way in a two-way direction, right? Do for each other, but trust is the major ingredient. I agree. Again, I said a lot of people would think association and even friendship is about noise. Who talks the most? It's not. I've learned that. Your best friendship, my best friendships is with people with whom I can just sit there and say nothing. Just being myself, just be in peace, in my own peace. And, no one's wondering what's the other person saying, what are they thinking? When we can be at peace with ourselves, or when we truly trust each other, then many things don't even need to be said, right? Because if you listen to many of the things we've shared today, empathy, understanding, and really knowing the other person, then you figure that we know what each other are thinking anyway. I think that's real association, that's real friendship for you. So I do wonder what is your one tip for people who want to, I guess, find a tribe? Maybe I'm using Jamie's words here. What's the one thing you want to we can leave our friends with to do, to start doing, stop doing, or change? in terms of finding the tribe.
Know thyself.
I like that, Mike. Yeah.
What I mean by that, and actually, while Zion was talking, I actually had a thought, and they're kind of linked. And the thought was that we want to associate with a higher order value. What do I mean by that? The higher order value is really unity. So when I have this counsel, or when I'm really joining a company or a vision, I am actually tying my time, my efforts, my gifts to that higher order value, whatever that is. And for me, I am really interested in generative discussions like we're having today, and open and honest wherever I can find them. But I keep on going back to, yes, you still need a counsel to retreat to, if you will, to hone who you are. Who are you in the world? Some of it is what you do, but I think we're all unique and we're all gifted in certain ways. Zion is incredible with his positive energy and his smile. I can't tell you. I'm serious. I come here, not anything against the other gentleman on stage here, but I come largely just to see Zion smile because it's awesome, and that's but my higher value there is not Zion, obviously. It's this feeling. It's this feeling of love. It's this feeling of unity. Like you mentioned, we're from across the world. And as I age, and after I went through my little quadruple bypass, I'm like, I gotta be a lot more focused on relationship. I gotta be focused on impact and influence in a positive direction. So, and I guess what I'm saying in a long-winded way is, know who you want to be. Know where you're going, and then look for some folks that can help get you there, and that will, to your point, you can go positive or negative. And I'm just going to leave you with this because I'm just amazed at the truth of it. Is don't discount people that you may think. I think it was Annie that said you planted, or you are who you are in part because planted a seed. Well, you also are a seed planter. Now you can plant negative ones or positive ones. It's my hope to keep on planting positive ones. And again, we do that for each other. And the last thing I wanted to bring up, because I had forgotten it, was when we're interacting, we are greater than the sum of our parts. It goes back to this higher order value. Is that as we are talking here, and as Zion's saying something, and it's clicking something off in my mind to kind of not send me in a completely different direction, but it stimulates something in my mind and in my heart, hopefully. And I think that's the power, and that higher order value is really powerful. So figure out where you want to go, and what you want to join.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, if we don't know ourselves, it's very hard to get to know anyone else, really, right? We have to learn to truly look within and become the person, with the higher order values you talk about, Mike. The ones who can influence people, the ones who can bring something to the table. I agree with you on that one completely. Mr. Z, what's your one big one?
When I listened to Uncle Mike, I was just smiling because what he said actually resonated with me. I'm going to share two things. And though it's more like knowing themselves, but I will come from a place of having a mindset shift. I learned a few years ago that you want to change the contact in your phone. You don't go about looking for people that can be asking them for your contact. So you must embrace the mindset that will attract those people to. So for you to find your tribe, for you to find your people that resonate with you, you must first be that which you seek. Be that which you seek. For me, I never knew that there were positive people all over the world. I thought I used to be the only person. But from the moment I embraced positivity, I began to attract people who have the same mindset just like me. Your mindset becomes a magnet that attracts your circle, that attract the kind of people you want to be. So for you, you're looking for a tribe that resonates with you. You're looking for a tribe that understands you. You're looking for a tribe where you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you feel heard and feel valued. Be that which is. Because I wanted to see positivity, I had to become a positive person. Then I began to attract the positivity in the world. Secondly, be a person that brings value. I'll tell you. Be a person that brings value. A lot of people are seeking for community, are seeking for cycle, but you don't have anything to offer. As much as you have good intentions, as much as you have good hearts, as much as you have good thoughts, it's not enough. It's not enough for you to be part of a tribe or a community and remain there. Because why? When you come with a good thought, the good thought is more like the motivation. What will keep you? What will sustain you? What will keep you consistent on the tribe, on the journey, is a value that you bring. So be a person of value. My mentor will always say, when it comes to networking, when it comes to finding a tribe, come with value and not with need. So yes, you might have need, which is okay, but don't be somebody that consistently come with need, because people will get tired. People will get frustrated. Nobody want to associate with somebody who is always coming with need. At the first instant, it's good. Okay, we need this. Okay, fine and good. But when it becomes a routine, it's not good. What should become a routine is bringing value. So if you want to attract your tribe, firstly, be that which is you. And secondly, make sure you're a person that consistently brings value. When it brings value, I tell you, you become the tribe. But because be attracted to you, but because you have what is. So that's what I wanted to share. I'm happy to conversation.
Yeah, no, well said, my friend. Well said. Be a person of value for sure. And I guess be the change that we want to see, right? Be the person that we want to see in other people. I agree with that. Mike, love your comment. Mike says, it took me too long to pivot into an abundant mindset. I think all of us took too long, Mike. I wish I had known about mindset when I was younger, right? Rather than 4 years ago, essentially 5 years ago at most, including positivity. It's going to be hard to be positive if you don't see abundant choices, paths, and outcomes. I said, just believe they're there. They're there. Everything's possible. That's positivity in action. And everything that we want is possible. If only we're willing to at least start the journey, the paths will open up, these choices will become evident. And we have to trust ourselves to make the right choices. Of course we do. Christiana, I see you. I saw you earlier. I don't know what happened. I actually saw you. I saw your face in your picture, and then you went to LinkedIn user. So every now, it says, "I'm gutted. My machine to allow me to go live." So frustrated. Don't be frustrated. I say negative emotion. Let it go. Maybe it's not your day to be on stage, my friend. It's not your day to be on stage. So there'll be many more chances, right? So I have no doubt we get to hear some of your amazing insights. King Jamie, are you still there? I have no idea. I would love to hear his final take. Until it comes back, I suppose there's so many that we can say, right? But I'll go with one. I think, let's not judge a book by its cover. Let's not judge people based on their appearance that we think. I know first impressions are a thing. Don't get me wrong. I know, that almost colors everything that we think of someone, right? But let's learn to truly be open to find out who people are. Yes, again, as Mike was saying earlier, some people are not deserving of our trust, of our association. But we're not going to know by seeing people and judging them based on how they look and how they speak, how they dress. Even though I say, again, we see this on LinkedIn every day. Some people Yeah, they are. I don't know whether they're intentional about the friendships, but essentially they make different friends as if the people they talk to will make them better people. Yet they don't really change. But and oh well. But they give people a chance. If someone is not, looking like someone who has, who's of the level that you want, I'm saying get to know them before you decide for yourself. Don't judge people. Don't judge people. There's no other word. Just don't judge people for stuff, right? Because it's not our place to judge anyone. Let's focus on ourselves and being that better person of value, as Mr. Z talked about, rather than saying, "Oh, that person is not of value because they're not what I think people of value look or sound like." How that makes sense, my friend? How that makes sense? Tom, have I missed Tom's comment? I'm not sure. Okay. So Cristiano says the association can make or break you if you allow yourself to be influenced, and that's why it's so important to know thyself. Be a giver, be patient, and bring your value, and allow others the space they get to bring their value too, right? Well said, Christiana. So I did love that. So it's important to be mindful of the stories we tell ourselves. Again, that's about us. We'll say about ourselves, or we'll say about other people. So the best things in this world happen when we don't bring judgment. Yes, that and the X has happened. X didn't happen. I don't know why it didn't happen, right? I'm saying neither is good or bad. You just have to. We just have to live through the experience and take what we can, what we can learn, what we can benefit from, and go with that, right? So Ejim was saying, Mr. Eni, let's also learn to make good first impressions. Yeah, I agree, of course. So as not to be misjudged. See, so I think the only way we can do that is by being our real selves. You hear in this whole conversation, you hear the word be authentic. Be authentic, but be an authentically good person is what I say to you, right? If you pretend to be a good person, the mask will eventually slip, right? If you're going to turn up and pretend to be someone who wears a suit every day, you don't wear a suit every day in real life. Eventually, people will see you without a suit, right? I'm saying, come with your best self. Come, let's learn to be loving, kind people who bring value, right? Simple as that. That way we're not pretending, we're not acting. We just keep being ourselves every day, and people keep seeing the right side of us every time, right? Maybe see there is a thing, and maybe my real last comment today, Mrs. If I give you the mic to close the show, is to say this: no one wants an association, an associate, or a friend who is hot and cold, right? It's like a chameleon. Now, one day you see them, they're happy, cheerful. Next time you see them, they're total opposite. Don't want to talk, don't want to smile. Don't. I'm saying, we want to be. I'm sure it's not just me, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, my friend. And I want my friends to be themselves. Just be who you are, right? And that way, whether I see you on Monday or on Friday or even on Sunday, right? You're the same person. I know what I'm going to get. I know what I'm going to get from you. I'm not saying we can't be a bit different. I'm saying, but let's not be, high achieving today, then tomorrow we're done in the dumps. And let's not be, happy today, then miserable tomorrow. Suddenly aggressively, violently crazy tomorrow, right? Now let's turn up as who we are every time. Let's know thyself, said Zion. That said Uncle Mike. Right? Said know thyself and know yourself and be yourself. Yolanda, how are you, Yolanda? So how are you doing?
And a wise man once said, love your neighbor as yourself. And I think often, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. If I'm acting out, I am probably not in a place where I'm really loving myself as well. right?
Mm.
So and I also try to remember that. And again, this goes back to what we talked about before about this trust relationship, and
Mm.
in a friendship, I call friends the family that we choose.
Mm.
That we need to have some elasticity, but I'm not saying
Mm.
any. If you're coming constantly with you're dumping on us and whatever, we all have bad days. But again, I want to associate with this higher order value. So if the higher order value is positivity, if it's lifting each other up, yes, I want to lift you up occasionally, but you also have to give back.
Yeah.
And by the way, and I came to this relatively recently, I don't want to shrink and steal from you the output of me standing up in authenticity for you, to you. I think that's really important to remember too, is that as we are authentic, we kind of owe it to those that we're associating with to be that person, because they may need that. It's not always about us. It
Mm.
could be, like Zion may need to hear, that he has a lovely smile, but he may also need to hear that he needs to maybe change his headdress. I'm not saying he does, but he may. But that's what I'm saying is sometimes
Mm.
and to your point, yes, we can't do it to the point of hurting intentionally, particularly of hurting someone else. But at the same time, I think there's times where we need to be our authentic selves. And again, if we're trusting each other and if we have elasticity, I think it'll work. And on that note, gentlemen, I actually have another meeting to go. It's been lovely. I treasure these times together. Thank you so much, all three of you and everyone else.
Likewise, Uncle Mike, and I thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. And every time you share, we always learn something new, my friend. So thank you so much. Mrs. E, we're going
Yeah,
anywhere, are we?
yeah, it's crazy. I just wanted to chip in on the conversation you had, spoke about not judging people by the cover, and you German also mentioned about making first impression matters.
Mm.
These two are like two edges of the sword, two sides, like north and south. Because a lot of people come in and they judge people based on how they look, what they see, or the appearance of people. They are quick
Mm.
to judge people. While for other people, they want to impress and act like what they are not. They want to, put in their best attitude, which is not about themselves. So, in a nutshell, in the middle of this, whether you are the one who wants to impress or the one not judging by the first impression, one thing I've learned is the ability to have a simple conversation and build relationship. Because a whole lot can happen by having conversation.
Mm.
There are people who might come to impress, but having a conversation with them, you can tell a whole lot. There are people who you see might not look like it, but having a conversation with them can tell a whole lot. So one thing I do, to cut the biases of first impression and the biases of judging by the cover, I learn to have conversations. So I meet
Great.
people where they are. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, let's have a conversation. Let's talk.
Mm.
It can be for 5 minutes, it can be for 10 minutes. Just by listening to you speak, I can tell a whole lot. So having a conversation is key and it's very, very important when it comes to getting to meet people, whether they don't look like it or they're giving first impression. While it's been a powerful conversation today, I must say, when I'm going to rewatch it as I used to do, I'm going to rewatch it again today and to write it big and to fill my notepad because I tell you so much wisdom, so much nuggets have been shared today from great mind. Great
Mm.
mind, amazing people, my friends, my colleagues. It's been so powerful. And that's how we do it here. We come in here, we laugh, we have fun, we enjoy ourselves, and still have an empowering conversation. But that's how it should be. And let's not forget, it's all about spreading positivity. For us, we are very intentional. For every conversation we have, it's always centered on the power of positivity. Something that we can embrace. We believe that more than half of the populations of the world can embrace the power of positivity. That's how they're bringing it more every week through the power of media so that we can reach out to 1 million people at a time so that people can be aware, people can be confident. Because what we hear repeatedly sinks in your subconscious. So as we bring about positivity repeatedly, week in, week out, tell you, remind you, echo it, scream it, shout it, voice it sinks into your subconscious mind and you begin to embrace the power of positivity. You know, for people I've worked with when it comes to embracing positivity, I can tell you at the beginning they used to think that they might not be able to do it. But as time goes on, 1 week in, 2 weeks in, 1 month in, 2 months in, 3 months in, you see them becoming a more positive person, far beyond they can think, far beyond they can do. So if you want to embrace the positivity, join intentionally, do want to reach out to me, let's go on that journey together. And thank you so much everyone for being here. For anyone who has dropped a comment, for those who are watching like on Facebook, on YouTube, from LinkedIn. I'm telling you, words will not be enough for us to show our gratitude. For one to say thank you and thank you for being so amazing. For people who have been showing up for us week in, week out for over 3 years now, I tell you, we appreciate you so much. And one thing I will always say in our 26, we live in a world where people are going through so much. People are going through a lot. And they might not be able to come and tell you and meet you that this is what I'm going through. Well, because of personal reason, or some people they don't want to be judged, they want to be looked down on. You know, people have different reasons. But one thing I want to encourage you to do is when you get an opportunity to show love, to show kindness, to show compassion, please do it. Do not hold back, do not withhold. If it's within your capacity to do it, please do it. Because that act of love, that act of kindness, that act of compassion, that you can put smile on people's face can go a long way to change their life. For me, I've been on both ends at the end where I needed somebody, and at the end where I became an inspiration to somebody. I know how it feels. So if you need to say kind words to someone is doing something nice, just say hello, just say hi. I see what you do, I appreciate you so much. Keep up the good work. That might just be what somebody needs. So let's keep spreading love, let's keep spreading kindness, compassion, and be people who are empathetic. You know, you have empathy towards other people, and let's keep spreading positivity. Because we know, we believe that in positivity, there's always endless possibilities. Because when you are positive, you become possible. So thank you so much, everyone, for this powerful conversation. Can you hear me? I don't need your back for there. Thank you, we appreciate you. Is there any last word before we close? You want to say hi, just say hello so that we close the show today?
No. This is a Yolanda say, "Did you hear the song, Zion? Which song?
I was going to ask that.
Did you sing your song? You know, I say, bye, Tom. So we're out the door with you, my friend. And you see, and I love the German's comment. You need to have value to attract value. You know, so let's be some people who bring something to our friends, our associations, not just people who take from them, right? That I agree with. So thank you so much, everyone. Yolanda, we'll talk soon. So I'm working tonight, you know. So let's, we'll stage 2. The last stage of our process is going on, right? So we'll talk soon, my friend. Mrs. Z, brilliant as always. You enjoy your night.
Yeah, let me give a round of applause to the audience.
We'll see you again on Friday, my friends. Next Friday, same time.
All right, everyone. Take care and have a great evening.
Bye, everyone.
Celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with global.media.com.